region. Mr. Trump said that with the liberation of Raqqa, quote, the end of the ISIS caliphate is in sight. The Justice Department's relaunching its Project Safe Neighborhoods initiative designed to combat violence at the local level. Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
Engage with a wide variety of stakeholders, from our police chiefs and to mayors and community groups and sheriffs and victims advocates in order to identify the needs specific to their communities and develop a violent crime reduction plan.
In Virginia, a man is facing charges after he allegedly set off a bomb. CBS's Jim Krasula with that.
Authorities in Williamsburg, Virginia were called to what they believed was a car fire near the College of William and Mary. They ended up finding an improvised explosive device. The owner of the car, 30-year-old Stephen Powers of Gloucester, Virginia, faces charges including terrorism. There were no injuries in the incident.
More U.S. workers confirmed to be victims of those sonic attacks in Cuba.
The attacks, which investigators say may involve a sonic weapon, started last year. So far, 24 U.S. diplomats, intelligence officials, and their spouses in Havana have been confirmed as victims. But investigators haven't been able to identify either a weapon or the culprit. State Department officials say the most recent attack is thought to have been near the end of August, and it has since pulled out about 60% of its staff. President Trump says he believes Cuba is responsible, but Cuba denies it. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
In a weekly Democratic address, Congressman Richard Neal of Massachusetts says the GOP tax reform plan will hurt the middle class, not help it.
Under the Republican plan, tax revenues from individuals would rise by over $2 trillion, while revenue from corporations would drop by over $6 trillion. This means more of the tax burden will be shifted from big corporations to working families.
But Republicans say the plan will help the middle class by raising the minimum tax level and cutting the corporate tax rate that could lead to a rise in household income. This is CBS News.
At our home, winter nights are complicated. Either I end up freezing,
or I'm sweating.
Hi, I'm Missy Tannen.
And I'm Scott Tannen, founders of Boll & Branch, the world's most comfortable sheets.
And now, we've created the world's first luxury flannel bedding, available for a limited time at bollandbranch.com. Try them risk-free for 30 nights.
Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set, plus free shipping with promo code SLEEP. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
I hate water softeners. I really hate softeners. I hate the thought of lugging salt and that it ruins septic systems. But I hate hard water that causes lime scale, which costs thousands in appliance damage and wasted energy.
Stop hating and start loving again with the HydroCare Smart Descaler from Wave Home Solutions. Prevent and eliminate lime scale the smart way. No maintenance, no salt, no plumbing required, and better than magnetic wraps. 1 year performance guaranteed. Go to IHateMySoftener.com. IHateMySoftener.com.
The French are debating the line between romantic pursuit and sexual harassment.
More than 300,000 French women have posted accounts of sexual harassment and abuse on Twitter under the hashtag #SquealOnYourPig. France's gender equality minister says the country is at a turning point with the Harvey Weinstein scandal as the trigger. Marlène Schiappa wants a new law banning sexual harassment on French streets. She's criticized by some who claim it will kill the culture of the French lover, but Schiappa insists it's the opposite. That consent is the key to preserving seduction and chivalry. She says wolf whistles will not be banned. Larry Miller, CBS News.
All 5 living former U.S. presidents will attend a concert tonight at Texas A&M University, raising money for relief efforts from hurricane damage in Texas, Florida, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. Barack Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, and Jimmy Carter will all attend that show, featuring Lyle Lovett, Sam Moore, and others. Bill Rakoff, CBS News.
At our home, winter nights are complicated. Either I end up freezing,
or I'm sweating.
Hi, I'm Missy Tannen.
And I'm Scott Tannen, founders of Boll & Branch, the world's most comfortable sheets.
And now, we've created the world's first luxury flannel bedding, available for a limited time at bollandbranch.com. Try them risk-free for 30 nights.
Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set, plus free shipping with promo code SLEEP. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you: printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
It must be, it has to be, with that big sound it's gotta be KSCO.
Good morning, you're listening to AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz 10:07, a beautiful Saturday morning, October 21st, 2017. I am Jason Struby. It's time for your weather and traffic report. Also a reminder, fantastic deals on the Dog Wallet products all weekend. Dave will be here in the Dave Cave till 2 today. I'll be here all weekend after that. Don't miss out. Deals, Healthy Start Pack, Pollen Burst. We're stocked up on everything. Highways 117, 101 rolling strong on the Central Coast, 68, 183, 156, 129, 152, Highway 9, 218, all clear. Sunny today and tomorrow, highs in the upper 60s and mid 70s. Hotter tomorrow with overnight low 48 degrees. Tonight with clear skies. Winds 10 miles per hour in the evening. Just past 10:07, it's time for the Saturday special with your host, Michael Zwirling, right here on KSCO.
Good morning, Jason Struby. How are you feeling today?
Feeling okay, thank you. How you doing?
You sound just great. You sound
Nice.
As enthusiastic as I've ever heard.
Good, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah,
And you?
terrific. Okay, except I'm clearing my throat again without turning the mic off. I'm an amateur broadcaster, right? Who's been doing it like 37 years.
The amateur vet.
Anyhow, so we're gonna get the camera 2 moving, and
Yes.
right.
And we are streaming live
I
on
have to be
YouTube, folks.
watching it. Yeah, streaming live. Where is it?
YouTube.com/C as in cat /KSCO Global. YouTube.com/C /KSCO Global.
Right.
Check
And
it
is
out.
our guest Michael on with us now? Can you hear me, Michael?
Michael's here, but Michael is not on camera, thank goodness.
Well, you could be on. You could
I don't
want
to be. I'm in my underwear.
So
Me too.
But nobody, all of us. Okay, well, see, that's the neat thing about television. Most people who are anchors, are in their skivvies. Anyhow, they just from the waist up.
That's
they look
actually
nice.
true.
I know it's
Yeah.
true. I was one of those people in 1973. When I was 21 years old. Somewhere on the ZBS Boss YouTube channel, you can see me back when I was a not too bad looking dude. I mean,
You were a riot. You were
no
so
one would
fun.
believe that.
You were
Yeah.
very funny. You were you had a diabolical sense of humor that was just under the surface in those old videos, those old films of you. It's amazing.
Well,
He's always been outstanding in his field.
That's exactly where I should be. Outstanding.
He's always been a veteran amateur.
Yeah. So anyhow, Michael, we understand if you don't want to download Minicam and have
No, I don't.
Jason ping you.
I prefer the element of the theater of the mind. I
Yeah.
am not a fan of video casting radio broadcasts.
Oh, did you hear that, Jason? Let's cut these off then. Because
No, you can do it. I don't care.
You don't care if I do it?
Ah, what do I care? The people know what you look like. I'm going to maintain some mystery.
Okay, fair enough. All
Standing
right,
by with the elements.
That is my good friend Michael Harrison. He is coming to you live and direct from is it Springfield, Massachusetts, or Longmeadow?
I'm in Longmeadow, Massachusetts, which is
Yeah.
a suburb of Springfield, Massachusetts.
I see. Yeah,
And,
and you've been a media guy since since way back.
Long before the
was
history of radio reached its halfway point. I have been an active radio broadcaster for more than half of the time that radio has existed.
But more than that, you've been a media student and follower and expert and so
I was
forth.
a crazy kid who at 8 years old was making rock record pop charts and comparing them to the trades and to the radio stations. I mean, before I was 10, I was making record charts.
Incredible.
And then I went on, of course,
and
to
now
make the real
now you're
ones.
back. Now you're back composing, if not making charts.
Yeah, I've discovered GarageBand, and now I've unlocked the inner Rodgers and Hammerstein inside my soul.
No,
it's true.
I wouldn't
It's
be
true.
a bit surprised. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. And you're already doing bumper music, but you're not. The world isn't quite ready for us to play your stuff, right? Unless you want to grant us a license for your limited license.
I'll make you a little bumper music for KSCO. I'll do that.
Wow.
I'll give you and someday when I'm famous, it'll have great value to you.
Famous as a composer, you're
as a composer,
already famous. My God, there isn't a day that goes by when you're not on CNN or Fox or someplace, right? You know,
that makes me quasi-famous.
For comments on anything that's happening, certainly in the talk radio industry, and you've had many years in the radio music industry before.
Yeah, but fame is a funny thing in the 21st century. You're only famous in little narrow corridors. I think there's only one person who's truly famous across the board at this point in history, and that's Donald Trump. I think beyond that, everybody is famous, for four exits on the interstate or in one realm or another. I don't think there are really truly national, what's the word we used to use? Household names. Remember that term, household names? I don't think there are any household names anymore other than Donald Trump.
And did he become a household name as a result of the election? Not his election, but the campaign.
I think that the election
or was it
only
after he was president that he became a quote.
Interesting question. I think that he became exponentially larger a household name after the election, but I think he became president because he already was a household name prior to the election.
And the Apprentice had a lot to do with that, right?
A ton to do with it.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
I've been interviewed as an expert on radio, and they say, did talk radio make Donald Trump? And I said, no, NBC television made Donald Trump. If any one media entity is to be credited for creating Donald Trump to be of a stature that could be a candidate for president, it was NBC and The Apprentice. However, the gossip columns, sports talk radio, his putting his name on buildings and on airplanes.
It didn't wait, right?
For years led to that. So, someday advertising classes and media classes in colleges will study the life of Donald Trump as a exquisite example of so many aspects of media, propaganda, promotion, branding, and advertising.
Yeah. Yep. And he did most of it for free, huh? Just 'cause he
ironically, he did, and that's a credit to one aspect of his genius. But like all geniuses, he has aspects that he has blind spots and he has faults, he has flaws, and he is a fascinating individual for psychological study. I know I'm not here today to talk about it. However, it does tie into the topic that you said we were going to discuss today, and that is a general view of advertising.
And
I don't
marketing,
know.
right. Yes, for sure. So, Jason, we mustn't let too much time go before we officially start the program. So are you ready to hit it?
Let's hit it.
Okay.
Good morning. A brighter day is here. Good morning. May we bring you cheer.
We've got time, we've got tunes, we've got time, tunes, and temperature.
Get up and go, it's today you know on KSCO Radio.
Top of the morning to all of you out there in KSCO Radio Land, MZ and Michael Harrison with you for the next hour, anyhow, of the Saturday special. We're going to be talking about the changing face of advertising and marketing. And man, is it changing. I mean, it's exciting, but it's scary too. So stay with us, okay?
Good morning. Now stay right here on KSCO Radio.
Okay, now I think we should use the special fanfare music. Yeah, good. Let's do that.
Oh my God, I love that.
What an enormous industry the advertising industry is, Michael Harrison. And
yes, I'm still. I have chills from that opening. I'm still. Let me calm down. As they used to say on Saturday Night Live, I'm verklempt. That trill at the end. It's like when Moses is coming down from the mountain. You know, he just got the 10 Commandments. Listen to that again at the end of that song sometime.
You want to hear it again?
Yeah, one more time, and then But
okay,
let me talk.
Ahead,
the trill. Okay, it's building. Okay, it sounds like it's going to be like The Sound of Music or something. Build our life with the blum, and then it goes off. Now the trill is going to come. The trill is what's going to take it to a higher dimension. Listen. Hear it?
The zenith and the denouement.
I mean, think about.
I know denouement is a literature term, not a music term, but
whatever. It all ties together. That's fantastic. Yeah. Okay, let's get into it. I'm sorry.
Okay, enormous industry, advertising, many facets of it, and wow, is it being impacted right now, and just it's getting worse and worse, or better and better, depending upon your perspective. For me, it's worse and worse for the radio broadcast. But actually, the challenge here, Michael, and you're going to help me with this because you're really good at it. The challenge is to figure out how to merge the old technologies with the new technologies and take advantage of the of the new tech possibilities with advertising, right?
No question about it. But yeah. You know, there's a degree of mind control that enters into all of this, and I guess advertising
That's more than it always was. Because
it's more than it always was because it's pervasive. It first of all, just to look back, advertising has been a great engine for free media. Newspaper costs, you could buy a newspaper back, in the day for 3 cents, for 5 cents, for 10 cents. Even today, when you think about what you're getting, it's $1 or $2. Now, I don't even know. I haven't bought a newspaper on the newsstand in years, but it still is relative to the cost of, say, buying a book. For what you get, it's a relatively inexpensive piece of paper, and radio and television have been for years predominantly free. If you have to buy the appliance, but they're basically free. So advertising has presented a tremendous way of bringing entertainment and information to people at a reasonable cost, and make it a business that people could make a living and justify their expenses and make a profit at. And that has been basically the paradigm for the 20th century and into the 21st century, but now it's changing, and it's throwing many industries into disruption, particularly the TV industry, the radio industry. The magazine industry is basically on its backside, and newspapers are scurrying frantically to change from being newspapers to news platforms, and they are struggling financially.
Just like your publishing business.
Yeah, well, my publication is simple because it just is targeted to a very specific arena. So, and an arena that's already everybody in our business is online. They live online. So for us to 6 years ago decide to stop publishing a beautiful color magazine and to devote all our attention to online.
That
we
would
didn't
be Talkers Magazine for
Talkers
those
Magazine. We didn't miss a
don't
beat.
Know, who haven't heard Michael Harris has been on many times with us. A good friend of mine. So
yeah, so
an amazing person in the industry. So
thank you for saying that. But so we're seeing a transition in the culture surrounding media as a result of changes in advertising, because advertising and media and popular culture, popular trends, the things that we think of as the stuff of our lives, much of it has been and continues to be forged by the advertising industry. And now we're going into really, really uncharted territory when we're going from what's called mass media, popular culture, the American people, to not so mass, specialized culture, isolated communities, targeted media.
Yeah.
And that's a very different animal.
It sure is. Now, the gentleman that I purchased what we call world headquarters now in San Francisco from had a stellar career in the advertising industry, but it was mass media back then, because he's been retired for somewhere between 15 and 20 years. And he has a very short attention span. There's no way in the world I could ever get him to listen to a radio show. It's just not going to happen. But he's fascinated by talking to me and trying to keep me on topic without going off on 100 different tangents.
You mean there's somebody else that does that besides me?
Right, right, exactly. And because that was his job. That was his job that he excelled at for many, many years. Okay, and so I enjoy having conversations with him about how to zero in on a message. Now, I don't think those skills are changing. Only the platforms have changed. Am I right?
Well, the skills are changing in as much as you have to zero in quickly, because remember I said a moment ago that the media was basically free and inexpensive due to advertising.
Yeah.
Well, some things have changed. As we go into the 21st century deeper, we're 17% of the way into this new century now, and it's no longer a novelty. We're in the 21st century. The 20th century is receding over the horizon. It's becoming like ancient. We have scarcities. One scarcity that we're going to have, and we're not going to get into it, but it's one of the big three that I've isolated, and that's clean water. Okay, put that aside, clean water. The other scarcity that we are increasingly having is time. We don't have time anymore. And I think every person listening to this broadcast, if you stop and you think about the nature of your life, even if you're young and you've only been around for 15 years or 20 years, you still have enough time to realize, wait a second, I don't have as much time today as I had last week. I don't have as much time last week as I had a month ago. And I don't have as much time this year as I had 5 years ago.
Because your time is being sucked up by
my time is just, it's like, I don't have time. And the other thing that that's disappearing so quickly, and it's hard to really wrap our brains around it, is privacy. Now, time and privacy relate to each other when you talk about advertising. So back to free media. People say, well, radio is free, television is free. Why should we give those up and pay for things? The reason people pay for non-commercial media, whether it's satellite radio or it's cable television, and go to the movies, but even these now have advertising, which is frustrating. But the reason people are willing to pay for commercial-free advertising is because commercial media is no longer free, because it demands the expenditure of time. And when you say to somebody, I want you to listen to 60 seconds to a commercial, I want you to listen to 8 minutes of commercials between entertainment elements, it's no longer as fair a trade as it might have been. Well, they go, okay, I'll listen to this because I'm getting the show for free. This is my payment for it. Now it might be too much of a payment. So the biggest problem facing commercial radio and commercial television is the commercial itself. And the commercial break is a conglomeration, a globule of these problems. And that's something affecting this business. But it's affecting everything. And that's just one subject. The other subject that is of great interest is that the nature of the programming defines the audience. You'll find that there are very few, Uncle Milty shows. And I think the Super Bowl is the only real mass appeal show on one channel that most people in the country are aware of or are watching. Even election night coverage.
Or a major news story. But then
you have different channels doing the
You
have different channels doing the major news story, and then you get into the whole area of fake news.
Point.
People choose the interpretation of the news that they want to be their worldview. So you're seeing very different versions of the news.
Right.
But the Super Bowl is one channel on radio, one channel on television. Everybody's watching it. And you know something? There's almost a metaphysical aspect to that because you have human consciousness from coast to coast all focused on the same thing, which is something very rare in 2017. And that affects the advertising business. So the advertising business now is based on targeted media. The advertisers are getting smarter and smarter. They want, some famous industrialist once said, I don't remember who it was, I wish I were more prepared. He said, I spend a lot of money on advertising, but I have figured out, I'm paraphrasing, I have figured out that for every $1 I spend on advertising, 1/2 of it is wasted. The problem
Only
is
a half? I think.
Wait, let me finish
like 90, 95.
He said this was back in the day.
Right.
Back in the 20th century, 1/2 of every $1 I spend on advertising is wasted. The problem is, he said, I don't know which half. So that explains that paradigm. But now they can not have waste because if you want to sell golf clubs, you advertise on the Golf Channel. If you want to sell health stuff, you advertise on health shows. If you want to sell sporting things or beer or trucks or stuff that go to the typical football fan, you advertise on sports. You want men, you want women, you want young, you want old, you want whatever it is you want. There's a special programming channel for that. And add the digital component. And even though it's not the technology of metrics, that's the word for ratings, metrics meaning numbers.
Yeah.
Advertisers want numbers. How many people will see, read, or hear my message? How many? I don't want estimates. I don't want approximations.
Digital
How
metrics
many?
are more dependable and more believable than the traditional metrics, the ratings from the radio and TV shows.
Which are estimates. And of course, the dirty little secret, Michael, and I'm sorry I'm dominating this conversation, but I'm just trying to get us all out on the table. The dirty little secret about today's digital metrics is that they're, in many cases, hyped up, distorted, untrue, in error, or downright lies. So, you ever wonder?
Just like the traditional ratings, right? Right? I said that, you didn't, but you believe it, right? So.
I do think that ratings of audience measurement, when it's not something that you can see with your own eyes, like how many people are sitting in Carnegie Hall for a performance of the New York Philharmonic or whatever, I think that they're subject to error. Yeah, they're subject to distortion. So,
big time.
But the point is that the
whole thing is a
idea
scam,
now,
as far as I'm concerned. But.
the idea now is there's no wiggle room. There's no wiggle room anymore, and that has constricted programming, and it has constricted the idea that there's compromise media that is a little bit of something for everybody. The Ed Sullivan Show, for example, which creates a mass culture, which creates a mass public, which creates mass opinion, which creates everybody knowing what the number one song is, everybody knowing what the number one movie is, everybody knowing what the number one book is, everybody being into hula hoops, whatever it is, those days are over. And one more step, and then I throw it back to you. One more step in this discussion is through the targeting of media, and the digital era, they have infringed on your privacy. They're following you around wherever you go. They're selling information about you. And that's why when you go online, you say, how the heck did they know I'm interested in a Cadillac? Or how did they know I'm thinking about booking a cruise to, Hawaii? Or how did they know that I'm interested in buying a new pair of boots? How did they know that? My gosh, look at that. Isn't that convenient?
From your Gmail. because they were very smart to give you something of value, like a good, dependable email box where you can put big attachments, like audios and videos and things, and let you use it for free. And while you're doing that, they're learning everything about you, right?
Everything,
big time.
Privacy.
And you gotta hand it to them. So you're right. You're right. Privacy has been all but totally given up by everybody. Now, there is a Santa Cruzan who I don't believe listens to KSCO. I would love for him to listen to KSCO. His name is Reed Hastings. Does that name mean anything to you?
It sounds like the kind of name that you've heard.
Okay, well, he's the CEO of Netflix.
Yes.
Okay, and Netflix is a burgeoning, major company that I think will dominate advertising in a way that traditional advertising, like the networks have. Plus, there will be a digital component. I think what the guy is building, and like he lives right here in Santa Cruz. I mean, everybody's got Netflix. Everybody pays their $8 or $10 or $15 a month or whatever for unlimited streaming of their huge and growing program thing. And now there is so much, billions of dollars coming in to I believe billions, maybe it's got to be hundreds of millions anyhow coming in. They don't way more money than they could possibly even commit.
Well, what they're
doing,
what
he's doing now is he's created a whole new. He's in content production.
Yes,
and producing like original series, not. I'm just using Roots as a landmark mini series that was created in the mid '70s. And it was revolutionary. I mean, you remember that. Everybody does. Everybody was alive.
Yeah, Roots was
enough.
Definitely a forerunner, and HBO certainly, with The Sopranos. Netflix did not invent the idea of a television show being a bigger deal than a theatrical movie, but Netflix is taking it to a new level. I hear they have.
Aren't you impressed and a little surprised, pleasantly surprised that they're doing that? They're going to be. I think they're going to be bigger than all of the networks combined. It's just it's huge. They can't not be. They seem to be doing everything right.
They're doing everything right for the moment, but things are changing so much that they're going to find themselves in 2 or 3 years facing other competitors and new paradigm changes. Because I think the accelerating change is just getting warmed up. So now Netflix is the star of the show. But the fact of the matter is not only are they impacting television networks. How would you feel if you were an old-fashioned movie studio mogul seeing this television network, this pay television network producing better movies than you make for theatrical release, meaning in theaters? Have you noticed?
I would feel sick and disgusted.
Yeah, take The Crown. I don't know whether you've seen The Crown. It's a 10-part first season look at Queen Elizabeth and what led up to her coronation in the first year or 2 or 3 of her reign as Queen of England. 10 parts, each about an hour. Magnificent. I mean, we're talking a 10-hour movie that would blow Lawrence of Arabia off the screen. I mean, you talk about the old Hollywood spectacles. This thing is lush. It is compelling. It is well acted, directed, filmed. The cinematography is incredible. And yet, based on traditional categorization, it's a television show. It's a TV show. And the other thing that Netflix... So Netflix is a severe threat to the old movie studio, motion picture theater paradigm. The other thing that Netflix has changed drastically is the on-demand situation, where they'll take an entire season, an entire run of a great television show, and put them all back to back to back to back with unlimited streaming for the viewer to be able to watch as many as possible, hence the word binge watching, and changes the nature of the programming. In the old days, a television series, each one was kind of isolated. You know, the adventures of Joe the detective. And this week he solves this crime. And next week Jessica Fletcher goes to another town and she solves this murder mystery. Now they're almost like soap operas, cliffhangers, where there's an overriding story arc and people are now sitting down and watching 25 hours of a movie. That used to be.
True.
MZ, are you a Netflix subscriber?
Say that.
Are you a
asking
Netflix
me
subscriber?
that?
Yes.
No.
Oh man, you gotta get it.
I'm
oh,
well,
so
okay,
much good stuff.
So basically,
there is so much good
MZ,
stuff,
what
but
you're saying.
You have to have time to watch it, which I don't.
Oh, that's a time.
You'll make time.
Back to
Exactly.
time, you see? Time,
See,
privacy,
I don't
clean
have
water.
enough clean water. I don't have enough time, and I certainly don't have enough privacy. So many people are listening to me right now.
And watching you.
There's no privacy at all. And
Well, you don't
watching
like
me,
privacy. You're like a millennial. You don't feel your life is real unless everybody in the world knows when you went to the bathroom.
Really?
Oh God, that's the. I mean, the
Jason,
irony,
Jason
the
Struby.
irony of the younger generation today is they fear privacy because they are afraid that privacy means that they don't exist.
Listen,
you know, it used to be I think, therefore I am. Now it's everybody knows what I do, therefore I am.
Jason.
Yes,
Jason Struby.
I'm here.
Do you agree with what Michael Harrison said about yours truly, about moi? Do you believe that?
You always tell me when you're going to the bathroom.
Oh.
I don't know.
No,
You
but,
are.
No, what he said
MZ,
before.
MZ, you are a mega exhibitionist.
What?
You are a mega exhibitionist.
That is sick. I should hang up my guns and subscribe to Netflix and just watch it for the rest of my life.
First of all, what I've learned from what Jason just revealed is that you understand the Netflix phenomenon academically, but you don't understand it from your own experience. And I would say you owe it to yourself to at least consume some of the pop culture.
Well, I did.
I've
I've been a member twice in the past, and
but it's
both
changed
times
lately.
I realized it's an incredible deal. But for me and my lifestyle, it just didn't pay, even though it was only like $10 or $11.
It's worth having it just to have it. You see, for a man of your wealth and sophistication, it's worth having it for $10 just to be able to tap into it now and then to see what's going on.
And the same thing for Sirius XM.
Oh, see, Sirius XM is another one. For anybody in the radio business, you really should know what it's about because it gives you some insight. But but let's move forward with the conversation.
Okay.
You know, Netflix is just one of these new pay networks that are now all going to be in competition with each other, which is the way that the old networks have to go. I'm fascinated by this new invention called, and I'm sure Jason, being a young, bright, connected guy, is aware of this.
Young and bright and connected. That's exactly
CBS All Access. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
Okay, the CBS television network has created an invention called CBS All Access, which is their answer to Netflix. And for $5.99 a month, or for I believe $11.99 a month, if you can get it for no commercials, for $5.99 a month, you can get every CBS show ever made. You know, you can. It's all these old CBS shows, most of which are not on Netflix, and now they're creating CBS originals, and they've dumped a ton of money into this new TV series that the sixth one is running this weekend, called Star Trek Discovery, and this is the first new television Star Trek in over a decade, and they're putting all their money on this as being the premium offering of CBS All Access, and you can only watch this Star Trek Discovery, which they're putting about $8 to $9 million per episode into this.
That sounds like a huge risk.
A huge risk as the premier component of what they have. I subscribed to it. I cut the cord a number of years ago. and figured I was going to go between having cable television and then go to DirecTV. I was angry at my cable company. I cut the cord.
Yeah.
And then discovered I don't need to go to DirecTV. I just kept the cord cut. And with all these different services for a lot less money, I'm getting things. And
but that's going to change as these other companies go bankrupt, and they will ultimately.
Yeah. Well, I went to CBS All Access because I wanted to see the New England Patriots play the Pittsburgh Steelers in a championship game, I think a year ago. Okay. And it was worth $5.99 a month for me. Even if it was only for the year, it was worth that amount of money. It's better than going to a sports bar and spending that much on 2 margaritas. It's a whole year's worth of CBS All Access. So now I've got Star Trek, and I get a lot of NFL football for $5.99 a month. It's worth it to me.
They don't have Bowl and Branch on there too, do they?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. It's what we're talking about, Michael, right?
No.
I mean, well, while you were listening, you were able to listen to the back hall. When Jason was when we were in the news, and Jason came on afterwards with that wonderful, long musical, intro. And not once but twice they played the same commercial in CBS News. Now, there's no way in the world they're paying for that, because no one would pay for that many commercials, because it'll have the reverse effect. It'll drive people away, and that's what I would never buy Bowl and Branch anything, because I hear too many commercials. They play the same commercial back to back, even.
To what do you attribute that? Is that because it's sloppy?
I attribute that because they don't have anybody. They don't have any. They're just bonusing the commercial, obviously.
In other words, they're filling inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they should fill it with other stuff instead of the same thing over and over again. God.
They should fill it with public service announcements to raise money for the people in Puerto Rico.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. But they don't. And so, it's sort of like that's a forgotten part of, the CBS News top of the hour is a forgotten part of CBS, because it's not making money for them, obviously, so they don't spend any time. They're spending time with CBS All Access or something that might make some money, like it's made money for Netflix, right?
Mm-hmm.
That just makes sense.
Right.
So, it sort of makes me think that that no matter how well you serve your community, and I like to think we serve our community better than anybody and than any station. I like to think that. It might not be true, but I like to think that we serve our community better than any station in the country serves its community. But it doesn't matter, because it doesn't pay. It just doesn't pay. It's not enough. So
Well, that's a whole other topic. I'll give you one sentence on it, but then let's go forward with the advertising discussion. The one sentence on it doesn't pay. First of all, you can never serve your community enough, and I do believe that if you really do serve your community and you keep your house in order, I think it will pay. I think that there's no end to the challenge of serving a community. You can't just sit and rest on your laurels. We do it. You have to do it minute to minute. And I think if you do, it'll come back to you if you give it a chance. I think that that's just my own personal philosophy. That being said, the other aspect of advertising, if I can throw this out, is that the nature of commercials has changed. The general philosophy in Madison Avenue today is that millennials, the reason I keep bringing up millennials is they are the target. Madison Avenue doesn't care about the boomers anymore, and they don't care about the toddlers and the little kids anymore. They care about the millennials. The basic feeling is millennials don't want to be lied to, talked down to, or misled. So authentic has become the new style, or at least, or I have to say in my cynical way, the semblance of authenticity. Because I don't believe that there's an ounce of authenticity to Madison Avenue. They just try to seem authentic. What do we have to do to seem authentic as opposed to be authentic? We want to seem like we're telling the truth as opposed to just tell the truth. Nah, that doesn't fit in. So there's this whole change in style. And have you ever noticed that you watch a commercial that is so hell-bent on entertaining the viewer because they're afraid the viewer's going to tune out, as so many people do during commercials,
No,
that
I
you
haven't
don't
seen
know,
that.
well, let me finish, that you don't know who the sponsor is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jason, have you ever noticed that? That you go, well, who was that? I don't know, but it was sure funny. Jason must be in the KSCO lunchroom.
He must be in the can.
He's at the vending machine getting himself a nutritious lunch of Nestle's chocolate bar.
Did you hear the last program? It was about Nestle's water and how they make billions of dollars a day in the Nestle's company because people don't trust their municipal water systems anymore.
I guess that's kind of
that was
kind of
Michael
backs
Olson's,
up.
yeah,
kind of backs up what I said about clean water, huh?
Totally. I meant to mention that here.
They don't trust they don't trust their own municipal clean water, but they'll trust somebody else's municipal water.
Right. I'm sure that's all most of that stuff is.
Well, they come from pipes.
I don't have knowledge of that, but that I wouldn't put it past them.
I don't have knowledge of the cleanliness of it, but I do have knowledge of the fact that many of the bottled waters that are on the supermarket shelf don't come from natural springs. They come from somebody's faucet, and then they're, cleansed or purified. That you're buying somebody else's tap water in a bottle. Because psychologically,
but it could be excellent well water or spring water or something. It could be.
I don't know.
It probably isn't. I mean, I can. Never mind. I mean,
whom do you trust?
You're right. They're really. God, there's just nothing left.
It's a crisis in confidence.
And you're not a conspiracy theorist at all.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all, but I'm not stupid. I don't believe everything I hear. I do believe there are conspiracies. I just think that when you make conspiracy theory your product and you have to meet a deadline, you start reaching for straws and you start making up stuff. But there's a difference between being a conspiracy theorist as your calling card or having a healthy skepticism about things.
Like the Kennedy assassination, for example.
Hey, we're going to finally see the files. Yeah.
Oh, Trump decided not to let them out?
Trump decided not to stop them.
Oh, okay.
Trump had the power to keep them, based on the Kennedy Assassination Information Act of whatever the heck it was. This Thursday is the day that 25 years after the act was passed, that with the permission of the president, they could release like 10,000 files, which is like 1 billion words of information. And Trump has tweeted in his official presidential tweet that he is not going to stop it from happening, which is my favorite thing that Trump has done so far.
Oh, great.
I'm dying to know anything I can about the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah, you've been to Dealey Plaza, have you?
I have been there.
Okay, it wasn't until I went there that I realized beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's no way in the world the story we were given could be the correct story.
I tend to agree with you. But I don't know whether or not we're going to find out the answer, because how do we know that the answer lies in the secret documents? How do we know that they weren't destroyed? How do we know anything?
So let's see. I was 12 when the assassination happened, and there were probably people who were 30 when it happened. And there's still enough people alive. There's probably someone like that. That deep throat person regarding Nixon and the and the Watergate and all that. They discovered many years ago. Right when Deep Throat was on his deathbed or something, he told everybody everything. So
yeah, well,
maybe that'll happen with the assassination of Kennedy. What do you think?
I don't know. I have my own suspicions. I mean, I'm not here to talk about the Kennedy assassination. I think it'd be unfair to, I'm not an expert on it, just a person. So, but I I think it could be any number of things, and I think that all of the popular conspiracies, it was the mafia, it was the CIA, it was Lyndon Johnson, it was Lyndon Johnson in conjunction with the CIA, it was Texas oil people in conjunction with Johnson, in conjunction with the CIA, in conjunction with the mafia.
The Dulles brothers.
Yeah, I mean, it could be any number of things, or it could be what it was. But Kennedy had too many enemies in high places. You see, I think I guess I am in a way a little bit of a conspiracy theorist in terms of my own personal thought process. I tend to think that when presidents of the United States get elected, they take them into a room and they meet with the people that really run things, and they tell them what the true lay of the land is.
I agree.
And then they tell them, and if you mess with it, we're going to kill you.
Exactly. And your family.
You agree, Jason?
Yep, and the family.
Yeah. Because they change too rapidly after they get elected. They suddenly become different people.
They did kill Bobby Kennedy pretty soon after, within 5 years.
They killed Bobby Kennedy. They killed JFK.
And JFK
I don't know.
Jr. was, the people say that he was sabotaged. I don't know if
that's possible.
True,
it's possible. But Bobby Kennedy and John F. Kennedy were enemies of what today a lot of people refer to as the deep state.
Hey, what does the deep state mean? What's
the deep state? The deep state is the bureaucracy. The deep state is the complex confluence of power and organizations that make this complex entity called a government and a society operate.
Who coined that term? And it was only recently.
Yeah, but it has always existed. It's always existed. And a case could be made. Let me say something profound. A case could be made that we would be in utter chaos without the deep state. We would be in utter chaos. These doofuses that get elected to office, from the presidency down to your local mayor, wouldn't have a clue what to do if it weren't for the people that have been in power and been in the bureaucracies and worked for the government and been around, and the military and so many other aspects of what makes a complicated society as ours operate efficiently and have things actually go well. They wouldn't know what to do. There'd be chaos. Most of these people couldn't even run a little company of their own. Look at what you go through running a radio station. Imagine if suddenly somebody said, well, Mr. Swerling, you're now president. Run the country.
I don't know what I would do.
You'd turn to somebody and go, where's the bathroom?
I would turn to you and say, be my advisor. Here.
So when people say, let's get rid of the deep state, let's drain the swamp. Well, you're only going to have to
does drain the swamp mean get rid of the deep state? I don't think so. Even though I just now asked the definition.
It's very connected. Very connected.
Drain the swamp to me means just get rid of the preponderance of corruption.
What do you think the deep state is?
That's a superficial aspect of it. That's the top layer of it, is the corruption in Washington. Yes, but to really drain the swamp.
Oh, I see. There's probably nothing but corruption in Washington.
All the way.
So
there's nothing but
the deep state.
I don't want to say there's nothing but corruption. I want to say there's nothing but human nature.
Well,
and
what's Jason trying to say here?
Jason?
Yeah, I think you guys are right on the money. I think the draining the swamp is very connected to the deep state and the human nature and all that. Getting rid of the corruption. Yep. Let's see if we can actually make progress on that. That's a different story.
Well, doesn't it start with each and every one of us?
I guess
Shouldn't we clean up our own backyards? Shouldn't we operate our own lives without corruption? Shouldn't we harbor goodwill to our neighbors? Shouldn't we have love in our hearts? I mean, come on. If we don't have it, why should we expect anybody else?
Yes to all of those questions. Yes.
It comes down to the cellular level of society. There's no them and us. It's all me and you and
cellular
Jason.
Level, as in cellular phones.
Well, or as cellular health.
Yeah.
And,
I get it. So, Michael, you're obviously rolling with the punches here, and you're moving in the direction, and that's what we have to do if we want to. Well, we don't have to do that if we want to survive. We can just keep doing what we're doing, and if everything stays the same, then we'll be able to do that. But I'd like to forge a way to have the best of all worlds, that expression, I hate that expression, but I'm going to use it now. So we can have our cake and eat it too. Who has a cake and doesn't eat it? I guess a diabetic.
No, I think
smart
have your cake.
would...
Have your cake and eat it too. Is not a good thing. Is not a good philosophy. The philosophy is, and in the end, the love that you make is equal to the love you take.
Equal to the la.
Yeah, that's. If you serve the community, if you serve the cake, if you give and you care and you love and you're truthful and you seek truth and not victory and you edit yourself and you think about, why did I say this? Why am I doing this? It'll come back to you in spades. I really believe that. That's the only answer for me. There's no other answer. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll
In other words, if you devoted your life to serving the people of Santa Cruz with this radio station as your major tool to do that, you would be phenomenally loved and successful in Santa Cruz and beyond.
There must be some mistake.
What about the results of our show last week?
I forgot what the show was, Jason Struby.
Really?
Remind me.
No way. Okay, we had an awesome
listen,
show
I'm getting old.
last
Huh?
week. We talked about the Santa
about
Cruz
the
homelessness situation, and guess what? Lo and
happened?
behold, less than 6 hours after the end of our show about that important topic, we saw an editorial come out in the local major paper, who is the sponsor, actually, the Sentinel, and it was the police chief, and he had a new approach to homelessness. He had a full, 2-page editorial with new solutions and a whole new strategy, and basically he was putting his foot down saying, this is enough. We're going to start doing things differently. These people need some humane conditions. They're going to be able to sleep in the park. We're going to soften the sleeping ban, so on and so forth. And he has all these ideas about how we're going to handle it. And I don't know if the ideas are going to work or not, but at least he's trying. At least the city government is trying to tackle it, and I'd like to think maybe, just maybe, we made the slightest impact on that situation.
Well,
right.
That sounds like a good example. Now, I'm not necessarily sure that having them sleep in the park is the answer, but the fact that they're caring about the problem is a step in the right direction.
Well, and they gave them porta potties, they let them have their
Right.
tents and all this, whereas they were sleeping on the sidewalk with rats crawling in and out of their sleeping bags.
I gotcha. So it is an improvement. Look, the fact of
Yep.
the matter is use your platform to help people, and people will give it back to you. Don't use your platform to figure out how to seem authentic. I'm not saying you do that, MC. I'm just simply saying it's very easy to fall into the thing of, okay, now what do we do to stay on top? Just do good, seek truth, not victory, give people what they need, attack problems, try to provide solutions, give people a chance to talk, don't be sensational.
That was always my vision for the station. Somehow we got away from that.
We all stray, but the point is it's never too late.
Yeah, for sure. And we hope to get the chief on next week on the Saturday program. The word went out late to get him on here, and he just wasn't able to make it because of the short notice. But I think we'll be able to have him on in a future program. Hopefully the Saturday special, and hopefully I'll be the host at that time. But maybe if he's on a Saturday special, it might be when I'm away, and we'll have a great guest host or something. But we also want to use the program, the radio station, to do good in many other ways. For example, there's a big problem is the impact of the university on the housing. It's made everything so outrageously expensive because the university, which is not subject to any of the planning processes here, has not made it a priority to house their own students on their own 2,000 acres. My God.
Wow, that sounds like a complex problem, and certainly affordable housing is an issue for all communities, and how to create affordable housing without hurting the housing market, without hurting the real estate market, without ruining property values is a challenging problem, but it can be done. And that ties into another problem, the relationship between universities and the communities in which they live. That's like the relationship between sporting franchises and the communities in which they live. These are issues that should be attacked And when I say attacked, I don't mean hostilely and viciously or sensationally or stoking the fires of anger. Attacked on a positive level. Let's come up with answers. Let's cite the problem. Let's dissect the problem. Let's deconstruct the situation, and then let's build an answer together. That's the start. It's lonely on the frontier, MZ, but it's the best place to be.
And with that, I want to thank you for being with us for the last hour, Michael. Always
Pleasure.
Delightful to speak with you. And continued success to you, and our friendship shall hopefully lead to better things for ourselves and all.
That would be nice. And Jason, nice job. Nice being with you today.
Nice to chat with you today, Michael. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. All right, guys.
Take
I'm going
care.
to turn off
have
my
a good
button
one.
on this end. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Michael. It was Michael Harrison from Talkers Magazine, a good personal friend of mine for many, many years. And I guess we're into CBS News. We could blow through it, or we can, well, I'll just give the legal ID. KSCO, Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose. It's 11:01 and 30 seconds. Here's Boland Branch.
Police and military dead. Acting on a tip-off, security forces were moving toward the militants' hideout when they were hit with heavy fire and rocket-propelled grenades. During a fierce firefight, the security force reportedly ran out of ammunition. Some were captured and later executed. An investigation will look into whether incompetence led to the massacre. Larry Miller, CBS News.
President Trump says he won't block the release of sealed documents from the JFK assassination. CBS's Errol Barnett on what those documents might contain.
Many scholars suspect that they could shed light on the assassin Lee Harvey Oswald's movements and behavior before the incident took place. He took a trip to Mexico, it's believed, to get a visa to head into Cuba and for what was at the time the Soviet Union. There are many questions about what the U.S. knew at that time.
The National Archives has till next Thursday to release those documents. The Justice Department relaunching the Project Safe Neighborhoods program. It's designed to combat violence at the local level.
Our goal is to reduce crime. Our goal is to make every community safer, especially the most vulnerable.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions pitched that program to a group of police chiefs in Philadelphia this morning. Astros and the Yankees will meet again in Houston tonight to determine which of them is going to go to the World Series, one night after Houston avoided elimination with a 7-1 win in Game 6 of the American League Championship Series. This is CBS News.
At our home, winter nights are complicated. Either I end up freezing,
or I'm sweating.
Hi, I'm Missy Tannen.
And I'm Scott Tannen, founders of Boll & Branch, the world's most comfortable sheets.
And now, we've created the world's first luxury flannel bedding, available for a limited time at bollandbranch.com. Try them risk-free for 30 nights.
Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set, plus free shipping with promo code SLEEP. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
A study on the use of police body cams finds it's not as effective as at changing behavior as one might think.
The 7-month study of more than 2,000 Washington, D.C. police officers finds that officers with cameras used force and faced civilian complaints at about the same rate as officers without cameras. Study authors at the lab in D.C. say this means people should rethink expectations that the cameras will cause a large-scale behavioral change in policing. After the 2014 police killing of Michael Brown in Ferguson, many police departments began using cameras to reduce violent encounters. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
An auction in the UK today for Titanic artifacts and a key for a life jacket locker on the Titanic was sold at auction. That key belonged to a locker on the F deck. That's where the third-class passengers stayed. It was sold for over $100,000 in today's auction, beyond the $80,000 they expected to get. Bill Rakoff, CBS News.
At our home, winter nights are complicated. Either I end up freezing,
or I'm sweating.
Hi, I'm Missy Tannen.
And I'm Scott Tannen, founders of Boll & Branch, the world's most comfortable sheets.
And now, we've created the world's first luxury flannel bedding, available for a limited time at bollandbranch.com. Try them risk-free for 30 nights.
Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set, plus free shipping with promo code SLEEP. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
War, poverty, and disaster have left millions of children around the world orphaned, abandoned, alone. When their parents can't be there, SOS Children's Villages is there. SOS Children's Villages is the world's largest nonprofit for orphan and abandoned children. In 134 countries, including the U.S., they provide vulnerable children with a loving and stable family, medical care, and an education. Children in crisis are counting on you. To make a difference in the life of a child, go to sos-usa.org.
It must be, it has to be, with that big sound it's gotta be KSCO.
You're listening to KSCO, serving freedom, Hunter Liggett, and Jamesburg.
Good morning, you're listening to AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz, AM 1340 KOMY La Selva Beach, FM 1041, 1079 in San Jose, 95.7 Salinas, Watsonville, KSCO.com, 1340comey.com, zbsradio.com, youtube.com/c/KSCO Global. Streaming live now. Check out the live feed and please subscribe. Thank you to all our subscribers. It's 11:08. Let's get a quick look at the traffic. Also, a reminder, longevity deals all weekend long. Dave in the Cave till 2. He's hooking it up right now with Healthy Start Packs, BTT, Pollen Burst, Ultimate Daily Classic, and much, much more. He'll be here till 2. I'll be here after that till at least 4, and tomorrow all day long. 2300 Portola Drive. Quick look at the traffic. Collision reported one southbound at Monroe in Monterey County and a collision at 1105 Spiegel Street at Tembladera Street in Monterey County. No injuries, thankfully. Traffic hazard 101 northbound at Abbott in Monterey County. Box of lettuce in the slow lane. Animal hazard Trout Gulch Road at Victoria Lane. Deer struggling to get up in the right-hand shoulder. Oh, man. Terrible. 17 all clear northbound to San Jose and back from Santa Cruz. A bit under the limit there. Highway 1 north at 41st. Otherwise 1 running strong. 68 and 101 both in the clear. 85 looks good. 152, 156, 129, 183, 218. Highway 9 all clear on the Central Coast. 1109. Sunny skies today with a high near 68 in Santa Cruz. Tomorrow a bit hotter with a high near 73. Overnight low 48 degrees. Time now for hour 2 of the Saturday special with your host, Michael Zwerman.
Yeah, hey Jason Struby. So everything's cool with a video.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it on the, but I can't find it.
We even have sound working today.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Would you email me the link?
Sure.
And then I could just click right to it. That'd be great. Okay. So we're gonna take phone calls, obviously, this this hour, which we didn't last hour. Sorry for those of you who called in. I don't feel bad because I did not invite phone calls, as I am going to do right now. If you want to give us a call, become part of the program, it's 831-479-1080. If you want to email, it's mz@ksco.com. I haven't really gotten with the program that Dave Michaels has yet. I haven't gotten my act together if you want to text me on the program.
You could use your Google number for that.
I can?
Yeah, people can text your Google number. If you want to give it out.
I think it's, well, the actual number is my old number, that people had for a long, long time that I wanted to. What is my Google number? I think it's 8. You know what? I don't know what it is. I'm going to find out what it is, and then I'll give it, and then I can give that out, and people can text to that number. 882-888. No. There's 4 8s in a row, because I requested a number that had 4. I wanted to get lucky and get an 8888 number, but I didn't. Instead, I got a 888. It was a 3-digit, the prefix. The third digit on the prefix was 8, and then the first 3 of the last 4 digits was 8.
So there you go, listeners. Just try every combination based around what he just said, and let us know when you get the right one.
No. I'll as soon as I find it, I don't have a problem with giving it out, because if people become pests, I can just block them. But anyhow, Mike has been calling about JFK for a while.
Hello.
Mike in Santa Cruz. Hey, Mike, you're on. Thanks for waiting.
Hey, I appreciate the last hour guest. And
he's really sharp, and he's really high quality, and it adds a touch of class to my otherwise, nothing special Saturday special, right?
Well, I don't know about that, but I mean the question.
Thank you. I was fishing for a compliment then, and I sort of half got one, huh?
Yeah, you did. But I mean, in the topic that you guys were talking about, as far as things, unfolding in, what would you say, in socioeconomics, and with the millennials and the boomers and so forth, it's a bit of like living in the Matrix. And when you guys mentioned about JFK, I was actually checking the news about this question about the files on JFK being released, and the current President Trump being, as they're saying, a deciding factor in whether, if he'll agree to the files being opened and released. And I was thinking, in terms of the president, is there the potential danger amounting of Trump being the new Millennium Kennedy that has enemies in high places and is making more enemies in high places? And why have those files been long kept unreleased?
It makes no sense to me. I mean, can you figure anything out?
Well, it seems like for a study in the history of the country, as far as civics and government, that those files being opened would be of great benefit for the scrutiny of the generation, as far as their critical thinking skills, and seeing whether there's anything that is really gives any clues to the possibilities of what took place, instead of something like cleansed files that are homogenated and have obviously narrowed things down to something as superficial as a Warren Commission report. And it seems that it would be in the better interest of what the founding fathers wanted, was an aware public that was able to defend themselves from enemies, domestic as well as foreign, and those critical thinking skills to see, all right, what's the caliber that was actually recorded in those files beyond conspiracy theories. Let us look at what was in the files just as much as we would like a audit of the Federal Reserve.
Right. When I read yesterday that Trump may or may not allow it to become public, I said, what reason would he possibly have to not? And why was it not public all these years? Anyhow.
And again, I just say it because I'm not going back to 1963 and getting trapped in the past. I'm just saying that currently, right now, since it's an issue in the news, and right now, many of us that remember, I mean, I was, born in 65, but the impact of what happened with the president getting assassinated graphically out in open public the way that he did, with what I've heard ex-CIA agents that have actually talked about a team of shooters that was a triangulation, so that it was sure that if one shooter missed or a couple missed, that there was going to be a sure hit. But now, currently, there's such controversy in the country about the current president and administration that I'm wondering, about the significance of those files not being opened at this late point in history. Why would that be perpetuated to be blocked? That's very
good point.
That's very
good
suspicious.
Point. Hey, thanks for calling, and thanks for waiting. Appreciate your call. That was Mike in Santa Cruz. Here comes James in Salinas, also about JFK. Hey, James, you're on.
Hey, thanks, guys. All this secret stuff that goes on behind our backs is archived in coded format in the bold print headlines of Time and Newsweek and U.S. News and World Report magazines, up until the mid '80s when it changed. But prior to the mid '80s, if you research the bold print headlines and just analyze it in the context of what happened next week or 2 weeks down the road, it all makes sense. That's how you can prove Nixon had JFK killed, with whomever else he was with. I think he was with Moscow myself. Richard Nixon, that's right, him and Reagan. But this is how I can prove Nixon and Reagan let Stephen King kill John Lennon. It's all in the bold print, people.
Oh, man.
He got us again.
I got to write down his number. 7.
Is it too late? It's too late.
Nope, got it.
You got it?
Yeah, I know that guy's name, too. But he always gets me. He always gets me. He's good. He is good.
He gets everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. We do have other callers. Well, 479-1080 if you want to call. It's going to evolve into an open mic program here on KSCO. If you want to bring up a topic on your own, it's subject to my approval. But I'm not going to disapprove of too much. So call us at 479-1080. That's in area 831, or you can email mz@ksco.com. Here's Wendell in Aptos about Jason. What about Jason, Wendell, in Aptos?
Well, first of all, it's to compliment the man from Talkers Radio. I had always had my own suspicions about whether or not the people in Talkers Radio were what their persuasion was in terms of politics. And this person has just got through to letting me know I should not have any concerns about that. Seems to be a rather level-headed person and is aware of what's going on.
Level-headed person.
Yes, and in terms especially
I'm
of
going to
those
see if I can grab that.
I'm going
to see if I can grab that.
Because
I
think that what he was trying to do was to tell you, I think that he was telling you something very important in terms of who you are in terms of this community. But I did call to talk to you about Jason, because during that same conversation with that fellow, you had mentioned that you were glad that you were able to get some paraphrasing, to get some high-class people in there talking that could handle the different kinds of conversations. I just want to let you know that you've got them. You have got people like Jason and your other person that comes on there.
Of course. Thank you for bringing that up, because obviously I put out the wrong message.
Then I'll just tell you, Michael, you're really good. You're really good at what you do, and I'll just let it go at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendell. That was I appreciate your saying that very much. Okay, 479-1080. That's in area 831. Like to hear from anybody who wants to call. And JFK is sort of like having a psychic on, and when you bring up the JFK thing, that's what everybody wants to talk about, and that's fine. It's fine. Like I said, I'm fascinated by the whole JFK thing too, or when you talk about abortion. I mean, the phones get ringing like crazy, and you're not going to accomplish anything. Boy, wouldn't it be great if KSCO came up with the actual solution to the JFK assassination? Wouldn't that be great? Anyhow, Rick in Nampa, Idaho wants to talk about the JFK files. Hey, Rick. Rick! Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I thought I put him on, but I hadn't. Now you're there. Sorry, Rick. My mistake here.
Trump has said he's going to release the files. It's on the top of Drudge Report, and when you click it, it'll take you to the New York Times, and they're talking about thousands of documents that are going to be released.
Good. Is there anything that's not going to be released? How would we know, right?
That's true. And your last caller talking about Nixon's involvement, I'm going to throw another little wrinkle in there. Herbert Walker Bush, not W, but Herbert Walker Bush was there, and he was actually arrested and detained, and the FBI and the CIA and other government agencies had him released.
Yeah, he was a Texas guy at that time, too, I think, right?
Right.
It was before he was a Kennebunkport guy.
Right, and he denied that he worked with the CIA and that he was made director of the CIA in 1970.
Yeah. I didn't know that he denied that, huh?
The late, great Stanley Monteith told me back in the late 80s that Herbert Walker Bush was involved in it. And at first I thought he was kind of nuts, but he's a really smart guy, and a lot of the things he said have proven to come true.
You know, let me ask you something. I think I know your answer to this question. I'll put it out to the rest of the audience too, and for when other people call in. I'm going to be taking some time off probably to get a vacation and recharged. And when I do that, we can either have a guest host and have usually a better Saturday special than when I'm here. But the other thing we could do is reach into the archives, and there are a number of Saturday specials that we did with the late, great Dr. Stan. And maybe we ought to play one of those. I think you would say yes to that rather than have a fresh one with a guest host. Am I right?
Well, definitely, because he has a lot to say, and when you listen to him now, it's like, whoa, because they were fresh then. But now it's like, he knew what he was talking about, and I knew him.
And he was Alex Jones's idol. I mean, and if Alex was on with me now, he would agree. There's no question about it.
Right. He was running.
When Alex came to Santa Cruz at that event that we put on in October of 2010, he saw this group of way the audience of over 800 people, and Dr. Stan was in that group. And he didn't know that Dr. Stan was going to be there. But Dr. Stan was very tall, and he towered over the rest of the standing people. As soon as Alex saw that at the very beginning when he came out, he said, Dr. Stan, I want you to do the first 15 minutes. And so Dr. Stan came up and did the first 15 minutes. And it was great.
Right.
It was on
and I've seen that on YouTube. I wanted to really make it there, but I was stuck here. I had family crises and stuff. So, yeah, I wish I would have been there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing. So anyhow, let's hope that we get some new light on the JFK assassination from what is released.
Well, it's all going to come out. It's connected with Hollywood. It's all connected with history. As George Norrie says, I don't believe in coincidences, and I don't either. And it's all coming out. It's funny how all this stuff's coming out that's been going on for over 100 years.
George, if you're out there listening, give us a check-in, 831-479-1080. Alex, if you're out there, give us a check-in, 831-479-1080.
Oh, I appreciate that. And how did it go with the 15-year-old you had talking about the harassment he had at school when he had to leave school? It was a few weeks back.
Well, the conservative people liked him, and the liberal people thought he was a nut. Real simple.
Well, did he ever get his own show, or?
Oh, no, but I guess we could explore that if, we did talk about it, and some number of callers to that program said he should have his own show, and he seemed excited about it, but, he got distracted, and so did I, and so, but we can revisit that. Sure.
Well, keep exposing the truth and bringing the truth out wherever that may lead. and a wonderful job on that show yesterday about homelessness, because whatever solutions you guys come up with, that applies everywhere in the country. It'll work.
You say yesterday? Are you talking about Flight 1080?
No, the
last
Saturday special.
Oh, okay.
That was a
Yeah, because
phenomenal
I
show.
thought I heard you say yesterday, and I think, oh, you mean last week? But I think Dave and the gang talked about it yesterday too. I think
It was a phenomenal show, and you guys are getting people to think, and if we all put our heads together, we could probably come up with something.
Well, I don't have a producer for the Saturday special, and I've been lazy. I should get one. And then I can, and if I do a little bit of prep for it, then yeah, we tend to put out good programs. But I don't need to do any prep. If it's all in the topic and the quality of the guest, really. I'm just
Well,
here
you
to
know what? The
ask some logical
spontaneity of live radio like this is actually even better, because it's not scripted, and it just goes its own way. It's just wonderful.
Well, yeah, I don't like to listen to things that are scripted, and I know we have a few of those things on our station, but they bore me to death. I just like spontaneity, and that's how I am, and I think that's how the guy. They're very structured on Good Morning Monterey Bay. That does have a fine producer named Brad, and you hear him on the radio sometimes.
Right. I listen to that show every morning.
Ben and Dave produce Flight 1080 themselves. It's amazing.
And they do a phenomenal job as well. They're really good at what they do. I know sometimes they piss people off, and I know Billy Sunshine rubs people the wrong way, but you know what? It is what it is.
Yes, I've never heard anybody complain that he rubs people the right way, but I guess it's okay that he rubs people the wrong way.
It's just who he is, and I know there's things he says that make me angry or aggravate me, but you know what? Billy Sunshine is Billy, and just to have that mix of different people.
He has a very good heart. I know that for sure. You know, he cares about people.
And just having that mix of different people, no matter if they're conservative or liberal or Christian or have no belief at all, it's just good to have all that mix.
Yep, it's true. Okay, thank you, Rick. Keep
thank
Idaho green.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, Colonel Terry, you want to talk about Smart Wing Radio?
Well, as I've discussed with you before, but more importantly, you asked, Mr. Harrison made the suggestion KSCO should do the things that help the community and also help the nation and recognize problems we should solve. Well, one of the problems we should solve in Santa Cruz is the overhousing caused by the University of California failing to meet its firm commitments, which I remember it making in the 1960s and 70s and 80s, to provide adequate housing for its students, especially all the undergraduates coming to the campus. That was a requirement expectation, and UCSC has broken that commitment, has broken that moral and other promise and obligation to the rest of the community here. We also now have a water shortage, which UCSC's population is adding to the depletion of.
They should have their own water source.
Yeah, get their
it's
own water source.
Independent from ours.
They could get one.
But if they drill wells up there, which I don't think they have, if they were to drill wells up there, it would sort of be depleting our well.
No, they could also engage in the aquifer approach, which is to store water in the aquifers, which the water boards and the county and the city have neglected to adequately consider. Instead, they're suggesting now a $140 million cleanup plant for Santa Cruz's sewage. That's not the issue I called about. Now, there is mismanagement in Santa Cruz County, all over the county. And those could be exposed by KSCO, and we could have corrective actions, clearly. One of the mismanagements we have is the Board of Supervisors and the county and the city council failing to have the backbone and spine, and I used the word last week, gonads, to require UCSC with resolutions to provide first housing and then address the water shortage. But let's come to the housing.
How come you use the words gonads instead of balls?
Because I'm more polite and sophisticated.
Okay.
I didn't want to offend anyone.
Okay.
and your mother would have preferred gonads, for example.
I think she would have preferred balls.
All right. Well, anyway, as a courtesy of Kay's memory,
or maybe cojones. She did use
right.
cojones once.
Even better term. But let's come back. Why the city council and the board of supervisors won't address the overpopulation of this county by UCSC failing to meet its obligations to provide adequate housing. Plus, they are so incompetent at building things up there. The cost per room they're claiming, it's beyond toleration.
All right, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here's what we found out. We've been reaching out to UCSC for years to try to, have a better relationship with our town and our, commercial radio station KSCO, and they just haven't been interested in doing anything with us, and that's okay. They don't need to do anything with anybody. On the other hand, I had a meeting recently with a fellow that I knew from like 25 years ago, 24 years ago, who now is the, assistant or chief advisor to the president of California State Monterey Bay. And he asked if he could get some airtime, some PSA announcements about a forum that they were putting on, Obamacare, lose it, mend it or end it, I think that is what they called it. And that happened on last Monday. And I haven't been in touch. They thanked me. They sent a nice email saying, "Gee, I thank you for playing the promos. They had 15 and a 30." But I don't know what happened. They said it was a success, whatever that means. And I think what they were looking for by partnering with KSCO on this or using KSCO's audience was to get some conservative component to the audience where it was just going to be a love fest otherwise, apparently. So I thought the guy was pretty smart. Larry Samuels is a pretty intelligent dude, always was.
Well, I want to finish with
what I'm saying. Wait a second, Terry. Here.
I'm sorry.
I want to finish here.
Oh, okay.
The reason I'm saying this is because I like to think that if UCSC doesn't give a damn about connecting with the with KSCO and with the city of county of Santa Cruz, because they really don't have to. Maybe this other college cares more about things like that, and I think there's a possibility of that being the case. I mean, we've been working not with CSUMB but with the Panetta Institute for many years. Mm-hmm. We've been very supportive. In fact, I think we're the only commercial radio station. I know we're the only commercial radio station that carries their lecture series, 4 of them a year, live. There are other stations that put out the PSAs, I guess, promoting it. But anyhow, that's not CSUMB. I'm looking and hoping that we can have a better relationship with that institution of higher learning, which seems to care about those kinds of things, which UCSC seems to not care about.
Right. Well, I would urge a campaign on KSCO that UCSC provide adequate housing to all its students, or not add another student.
We've got a caller that disagrees with Colonel's perspective.
Well, that's fine. Should I stay on, or?
Well, you mean it's okay to disagree with you?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, it's not always correct.
Might be stupid.
That's true too.
Yeah. Do you want to stay on? Here, look, let's just do this.
I don't want to say much more. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll listen.
Well, here you can stay. Juan in Santa Cruz disagrees with Colonel Terry. Do you want me to drop Colonel Terry or ask him to pipe down?
No, you know what? Instead of arguing with him on that subject, I actually have a way better subject to bring up.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to unlock Colonel Terry, and I'm going to Terry. You don't mind if I drop you?
No, not at all. Let open the line for somebody else.
3, 2, 1. Bye-bye, Colonel Terry. Okay, Juan, you're on.
All right, so I'm driving to work a couple weeks ago, and I live down in SoCal, and I noticed they're painting all the bike lanes green. Now, what kind of a waste of money is that? It just rubbed me the wrong way. You know what I'm talking about or no?
Yeah, I do. I noticed that myself, and I was on a hike on Monday or Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday of this week with Joe Jordan, who does our Planet Watch show along with Rachel Ann Goodman. And he is very, very interested in, and he put this group together. It must have been 15 or 20, well, probably 15 people who walked on the choo-choo tracks from the trestle at the boardwalk all the way through to the couple miles, little more than 2 mile walk, all the way through to the Simpkins pool in Live Oak. And they were talking along the way about certain things. And I remember one of those people who's very, very into the environment and so forth was talking about what a good thing that you think is such a bad thing. You know, the green. Okay, well, and that they should, and that those green things should be expanded to everywhere.
Okay, well, I'm just a simple guy. I'm a tile setter by trade. I'm not a political guy at all, and this and that. I just look at it. Our little town of Santa Cruz. I'm born and raised here, never left, and it totally looks like they're trying to make it look like another big city. They do that kind of crap in big cities and paint everything.
That's true. That's exactly what they're doing here, except the green is red for the buses.
Sure. But at the same time, how much money did they spend painting all these green bike lanes that are going to get black tire marks through them anyway, this and that and the other? And to be honest, it looks gross. It looks stupid. I think it looks tacky. And it's a bunch of money wasted on some tacky look that isn't what I grew up looking at, you know.
I would agree with you that on the surface it seems like a waste of money. Now, if Joe or any of the people that like Planet Watch are listening, I hope they'll call in and give their perspective. But what was it that you disagreed with Colonel Terry about, Juan?
Oh, I turned it about. I only caught the last 2/3, 3/4, but I heard him griping about UCSC this, UCSC that. They're wasting it, and the whole money or the whole housing unit. If Santa Cruz hasn't done anything about it since 1970, I don't see him getting the ball rolling anytime soon on that. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, as much as I can't stand a lot of the UCS students clogging up the area, clogging up our surf breaks, that college brings a buttload of money to this town and keeps guys like me employed.
Hey, that's great. Well, I'm sure you do a wonderful job in setting tile, and it's what makes the interior of a building special. And the exterior of a building. I have a tile deck out here, and at the top of the hour here, I took out the one of the cameras that Jason Struby just pinged and got to be on our stream here. I don't know if you're looking at that, but I got very upset because I went in my stockinged feet outside on what is a sun terracotta deck. But I guess I walked into the shade. And where my stockings got wet. And I do not like the feeling of wet stockings. I do not like it at all. Anyhow, but it just sort of reminded me of that. Anyhow, so thank you for calling 479-1080 and voicing your opinion. Take care. Okay. Yeah, you too. And so I don't think there's any other callers. Oh, there is. There's a caller that's being screened right now. And it's Capitola Gray. Hi, Capitola Gray.
We don't have to talk about the university, right?
No, you can talk about whatever you want.
Okay. Oh, one thing about Boll & Branch, I think maybe you guys are paid by them because you know what's stuck in my head today? Boll & Branch. The other thing I wanted to talk about is I know you guys usually don't talk about other hosts there, but I was listening to a program, wasn't George's, and it just sickened me when people get on the air and don't really know what they're talking about and start bad-mouthing.
It happens
people at
quite
the
a bit on the radio station because we have no way to check.
Well, about the airport calling somebody fat and lazy, and I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, it was somebody that works there, and it's just that to me. When some people will say, "Oh, I feel."
Wait a minute. Tell me what happened. What did you hear?
Well, somebody, because some people, even on national programs, they'll read from the paper or they'll read something online, which
just like I'm about to do, as if we don't get more callers. Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
and
good.
what ended up happening is somebody, I don't know if it was a private radio line, but a private pilot put something out in there in La La Land, what I don't read, and but they were bad mouthing people on the radio. Even after I called and gave them the correct information, and the nice lady at the end of the show gave them the information, he was still calling the people there that work with the fire department, the police department, and the airport to fight the fires, right? But it's at certain times the airports are open.
Yeah. Okay.
And somebody was following the rules. They closed their trucks up at 4:30, I think it is. And
What's
if
wrong
you
with
do
that?
Right. And so the thing is, it's just like any business, anything that I've been in, if you send the trucks off or you put them away, drain the tanks or whatever you do, you can't just miraculously open it up. They do have a self-serve thing there. But without even reading about that or listening about that, the person on the radio called the person that works there, and that person might be, and actually they do volunteer. Or the one guy, the main guy of the airport, has been a volunteer before. They were bad-mouthing the people there. And I'm just thinking, you know what? Bad-mouth the people that screw people over in life, not somebody that's working at the airport that you don't even know. But that physically made me sick. And I didn't even want to call in maybe any program anymore after that, because people will talk about Georgia and this and that. Georgia has never hung up on me. She's never came out, and I've never gotten physically sick.
Do you disagree with Georgia ever?
Georgia and Sam believe in my God-given right to disagree with them if I want to.
But they're respectful towards you, obviously, because you're respectful toward them. When someone gets on, and I'm not just talking about Georgia's program. I'm talking about this program. I'm talking about any program. People have feelings, and when they're attacked, when they're viciously attacked, when just right out of the gate, people react, and some people react like Trump. I'm one of those people, actually. If someone attacks me and they don't. If they want to have a civil discussion, I'll let them talk forever. I'll have a nice discussion with them.
I choose my words carefully, and when I told you guys, I think on air, I even had Visalia John call me afterwards. Hey, I heard you. He's in Visalia. But when I said that was the best program that you ever had on a Saturday. Now, I wasn't fortunate enough to hear the one last Saturday.
The homeless one, okay.
Yeah, and somebody did call in and say, what about that, Mr. Keith, or whatever, and I disagreed with that. Okay, I'll disagree with George on that.
Okay. Okay.
But
the point is you're respectful towards people who are respectful to you. Hey, you want to talk to Flinks, who has a rebuttal to you? Is that right, Flinks?
Yeah, I know the show that he's talking about, and I think all it was is they were listening to the ground control and the pilot, and the host on that show was just responding to how the ground control was treating the pilot. That's all it was. It was just a reaction to the way the ground control just seemed kind of...
What show was it, and what host was it?
Am I allowed to say that? I don't want to get banned.
Sure. No,
okay. It was Dave. It was Michaels, and it was about
Flight 1080.
Flight 1080. And the guy that called, I think, is the guy that's on the air right now, and he was saying, this is wrong, and then after Dave hung up, he's like, I still feel like that guy was, mean and not very nice, or, lazy. He is lazy. He was just saying that guy sounded lazy. He just wanted to go home. He didn't want to go out and pump the guy's gas. He just wanted to leave. And he could have just gone out and pumped the guy's...
Did you know that pilot was there earlier, and there was a self-serve, but the pilot was there earlier, and that pilot did not complain.
No, I know. I'm just saying that's
that's what I remember about Watsonville. When I was a pilot, I used it was the honor system and everything was self-serve.
You
But
serious?
this guy,
You were a pilot?
the thing about it that Dave emotionally reacted to was that this guy's out there fighting fires all day. He's like, "You just have 30 seconds to pump my gas. I know that I can pump it myself, but do you have 30 seconds where you can help me pump the gas?" And the guy on the ground's like, "Nope, I've got to leave. I'm out of here." And he just left. I would think the airport would say, "Hey, these guys are coming in here fighting fires. Go ahead and give them a hand pumping their gas." It just seemed insensitive as all. And I think Dave emotionally reacted because he really cares about the fires that burn around here, and he wants people to be safe and have, and he thought the guy could have extended his hand. That's all it was.
Hey, Flinks, one more thing. There was more of the tape that I heard, too, and it wasn't on the air. So people maybe reacted to just what the audio that was displayed on air, but
in Michael's defense, he was just being emotional about it. He probably shouldn't have said what he said, but he's just being emotional. We get emotional when we say things, and we think it could have gone a different way. Is all. Is the way I see it. I gotta go. I'll see you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, and
I won't call anybody fat. Okay. And by the way, there's something else good at the airport, and that's Ella's at the airport, right? Have a good day.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I hear it out of Charlie for 5 minutes every show, and he is the congenital genius of Watsonville. I mean, the congenial genius of Watsonville.
Well,
so,
have 2 nice days, one each, okay?
Okay, very good.
Thank you,
Gray. Nice talking to you.
MZ, did you say you're an aviator? You were an aviator?
I have a pilot's license. I even have an instrument rating. Yeah.
I've never heard anything about this.
Yeah. I've been making noises about, getting my medical and doing some, fly around, some touch and goes and getting relicensed again. In fact, this morning I was thinking about calling Chris at Specialized Helicopter because he said that I should learn how to fly a helicopter, and I'd sort of like that. That would be sort of fun. I'll bet it. It wouldn't be cheap though, but maybe it wouldn't be as expensive as I think. Anyhow, yeah. So if I do that, you'll be invited if you're brave enough to go. Guess who my first passenger was when I got my private license in 1973? Guess who it was?
I'm just screening calls here. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Your mom?
My mother. Can you believe it?
I knew it.
Yeah, and she didn't care. She just got right in and said, "Hey, if they license you, you must be safe." I thought that was great. I mean, can you imagine that? Your own mother being your first passenger when you get your private pilot's license? Anyhow, that was the case. I think we're going now to Pete, who wants to disagree with the Colonel. Hi, Pete. You're on KSCO.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. I would just like to say, Colonel Terry is right in his thinking, but he's not thinking. He's not understanding the point we're at. UCSC now, we're reaching critical mass where we're going to lose complete control of this town. And the caller that called about the green stripes the relativeness of it is that's a diversion that they're throwing at us. They're wasting money throwing these green stripes out there, getting people to think, oh, they're trying to do something, but that doesn't promote bike riding. Kids, I can't let my kids go ride on the streets anymore because there's so much traffic everywhere. Yeah. I don't let them go outside. It's a diversion from what the real problem is. And I've tried to call the mayor. I've been to city council meetings. I've emailed her 3 times. And if you're listening, Cynthia Chase, do not ask me again to start from point 0. What are we talking about again? They have this certain hubris where you can't have a discussion with them about this. They understand that when they have more than 50% of the population at UCSC in Santa Cruz able to vote, they will control this town, and it's happening right now. If something drastic has to happen because they are going to take over this town, which I think they already have. and
Yeah,
we're being
well, I
thrown
mean,
green stripes on
that's
the
why our
green stripes
good
on the
buddy
street.
Steve Hartman left. You know, he tried and tried and tried to get UCSC excluded from the voting block, but he didn't succeed, and nobody else did. That's just
Yeah,
the
and
way it is.
I wish I would have been more in the know and involved on that, and I wish everybody would, because I think we
it
should
might have made a
annex
difference,
UCSC.
but he had a lot of support behind him. He really did. And his latest idea, which is probably 15 years old, is that, you know, if they're gonna vote here or at their college domicile instead of where they're from, then they shouldn't be allowed to have to be on their parents' tax deductions. And I think that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
anyhow, by the
now
way,
you're talking-
about the green bike lanes, Jay Johnson sends an email here 6 minutes ago. MZ, I work for a county close by. We don't want to place the green thermo in areas to highlight bike lanes, as we will need to provide a sweeper to maintain the bike lanes. This is cost, not payers for the other for other than the road fund that bikes do not contribute to. The additional cost would be about $3 million a year here. So we have decided it's more beneficial to the taxpayer, in quotes, to patch the potholes rather than sweep streets. That's just for your
you know how that works in reality, right? You know what that actually means when you cut through that letter? Do you know what it means? That eventually they'll put a bond on our property taxes, and anybody that owns property in this county will pay for the maintenance of that. Just like Cabrillo College, when they decided, which I agreed for and I voted for, the library upkeep, I now have a 30-year assessment on my property taxes. So we will end up paying for, like the gentleman said, this is a cost that who's going to foot the cost? We are. I really believe it's a diversion from talking about what you said with Steve Hartman, Colonel Terry. That is the problem, and we can't even get a conversation going now. They've stopped the conversation. They refuse to talk about it. So that's the state we're in, and we need to somehow force them to the table, because they have so many resources there that we could use as far as data for our homeless people needing resources. This is a world-renowned university with college students that are going to go change the world, but yet we can't affect our own community in a positive way. That makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
Well, there needs to be a change in the attitude of the administration, in my humble opinion. Anyhow, Pete,
could I
thanks
say
for
one
calling
last thing real quick?
Sure.
I just wanted to say I love Dave Michaels. I know when Dave Michaels speaks, it's what he feels. He's not coding it. It is actually what he thinks, and he admits when he's wrong. And I make it a point to turn on the Flight 1080 every chance I get.
We're very proud of the show. Thank you. Okay, appreciate your call to 479-1080. The line, Pete's line, is now open to anybody else who wants to call. However, we have less than 7 minutes left. So our next caller, Joe in Salinas, you're up.
Make it quick.
Yeah, it was a surprise, being that you are a pilot. And I really don't like conspiracy theories. However, I'm beginning to. How long have you been a pilot?
73 is when I got my private. 76 is when I got my instrument. But like I said, I haven't been a pilot for many years. For some reason, I stopped flying in 1980. Not because I don't know why. I just didn't.
MC?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. However, if I was, I would say, fine, MZ, you can say whatever you want. But this chemtrails thing has started or has become prominent since those years. Is it possible that, unbeknownst to everyone else, that MZ may have some sort of a role in the chemtrail conspiracy?
Well, if I did, I didn't know about it. Put it that way, okay? I was a useful idiot if I had anything to do with it at all. But don't forget, in 1980, I was 11 years from becoming the owner of KSCO. So I was pretty much.
You were free to do your destructive antisocial deeds.
Okay.
Then you got responsible.
Yeah,
hey,
no,
how about
I mean,
this,
I never had, I never did anything like that. I just did
They'll be
recreational flying.
They'll be picketing you now. The conspiracy people.
All right,
again,
great. Thanks, Joe. I got to go. Here's Judith in Santa Cruz. Judith, you're on the air on KSCO.
Hi. Thank you so much for this show and last week. Hey, I wanted to say that I put on a benefit in 1994. I tried for Food Not Bombs, and
okay.
I was trying to bring the community together, and it kind of turned out to fiasco. But I'm so proud of you for having that show, and then how fast all of a sudden the sleeping ban has been overturned. I think isn't that what happened? I think
it's maybe it's coincidental, but I and Jason sure like to think we might have had a little something to do with it. So.
You had a lot to do with it.
Wow,
I think we all had something to do with it. I'm not trying to pat myself, but
go ahead.
Oh well,
I'll pat
Keith
you
McHenry,
then. I'll pat Judith.
I made sure Keith did call a few times in onto Dave's show. I called.
Okay,
Keith.
good.
Call Dave's show now.
Great.
The other thing is JFK. I have a poem that I don't have in my head. Well, I used to, but that I wrote. But when that guy called, that guy Steve, I picked him up before you guys did, so I ought to be your producer.
Oh, okay.
I picked it up before he said that.
Send me an email, okay?
Well, they kicked me out of my email. I've got to get a new one. I'm kind of stymied. I'm on the process.
Send him a Facebook.
Okay.
So, I guess it was 2012. This woman came through here, and she was speaking about her experience. She wrote a book called Me and Lee. It's about JFK.
We had her on. We had her on the Saturday special.
Did you have her on your show?
Yeah.
You did? Did you believe her story and everything?
Oh, is this his girlfriend or?
Yeah.
No, she had an affair with him that summer. She has a wonderful book out, Jason and everybody, called Me and Lee. How I Came to Know, Love, and Lose, Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yep.
And you can get it through Trine Day Publishing. Trine Day Publishing online.
Yeah, we had a nice chat with her and her.
She's such
her
a
business
sweet
manager
lady.
or something like that.
She's going to be so happy about this. The fact that, okay, here's what I want to say to all the naysayers, because I was not a Trump supporter. But I understood all the PR that went against him, how heavily the media can make people think the way they want them to, practically.
We got about 10 seconds, Judith.
10 seconds?
Well, yeah, because we got a full board here. And then we got 2 minutes.
Okay, go ahead. We want to thank you for calling here. We do have to move on here. So, Owen and Salinas about bike lanes. Go ahead, Owen.
Hey, if you ever have a show about bike lanes, I think it would be a really good show. I have a lot of views. I'm sure a lot of people do. I myself think it's total waste of time.
Maybe we'll put it together for next week. Okay, we'll try.
Yeah,
okay.
When Dag was on, and some of your there were 2 other hosts. One's with 3 names.
Harry Lee Curtis. Yeah.
Didn't he pass away?
He sure did.
Yeah, but there was another one who was a property owner in Santa Cruz, and he told because he was renting a lot of college students, he told them, but your liberal vote is going to affect your rent. If you keep voting stuff in that's detrimental to me. Who was that guy? I can't think of his name.
Can't remember. I don't know.
I don't know. He's really good. It's back in the DAG and Eric Schick and all that.
Okay.
Was it there? Yeah,
hey, well,
bike lanes are a total waste, and you get it going, it'll be a great show. I'll let you go.
We'll try. Thanks for the suggestion. That was Owen and Salinas. Here's Jerry and Aptos.
Yeah, I was calling about the colleges and the situation that you talk about UCSC, and nobody brings up the fact that we've got a giant community college in this town of Aptos.
Well, people like Cabrillo because it's a good citizen.
Really
and some people don't like UCSC because they're pretty cavalier, you know?
Well, really, Cabrillo isn't a community college anymore. I went to some of their board meetings and some of their student senate meetings, and it's a preparatory school. It's not here serving this community, and all these votes that got done. And the tax bill measures put it on our property taxes. And that really doesn't serve this community now. It's a preparatory school, and it's become an extension of the university system.
Right. Okay. Well, gee, that's a topic for a whole program in itself. Thank you very much for calling, Jerry. Now we're going to go to Tony in Live Oak, and
I'm gonna make this quick. There is a 4 or 5 foot wide green stripe down Pacific Avenue that lets the bikes go opposite to the traffic. And I'm a traffic designer myself by profession, and that is the dumbest thing I ever heard in the world.
Okay.
So drive down Pacific Avenue, and you'll see bikes coming right at you, and you don't know what the hell to do. Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Nick, road paint, real quick. Go ahead, Nick.
The turnabouts. The dumbest things is the yield paint on the streets. It's white. They're little triangles. It's got to be the powdered red, just like the yield signs. Because you don't see it on the street. The yield, it would be so much cleaner to have it powder red. The little triangles.
Okay, thank you
Hey,
for
Michael.
thank you. We got to go. Hey, that's it for the show. We're already into Bowl and Branch news here, but so see you next week or whenever.
That's all.
Caliphate.
KSCO Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose. Here's the news.
Neal said the GOP tax reform plan is going to hurt the middle class.
Democrats believe we can do better than a plan that provides 80% of the tax cuts to the top 1% and sticks our grandchildren with trillions in debt. That's not a middle-class plan.
But Republicans are responding by saying the plan will help the middle class. They say it raises the minimum taxation level and will cut the corporate tax rate that could lead to a rise in household income. Politico's Daniel Lippman on what comes next.
What goes on from here is that they will start holding hearings on tax reform, hope to have a vote in the next couple weeks on this in the House, and then it moves to the Senate.
A federal appeal